Namaste. My name is Saurabh Nanda. I'm an educator, I'm a career consultant, and most recently, I'm a person who's been taking a lot of webinars. Now, there was an industry survey yesterday which was conducted, and I was invited over there to share my opinion on e learning. And I had a very big opinions about it. Let me start with the strengths of e learning. Now, in a country like India, there are multiple advantages. From the learner's point of view, the learner now has the choice when to study, now has ready access to material all the time, video or otherwise, and they also have the choice of the speed of studying. You can just increase the speed of the video from 1 to 1.75x, and the video goes quickly, and then you can learn better. So, there are a lot of advantages there. But when it comes to the teacher, there are more advantages because now the teacher does not have to repeat the lecture again and again. The reach has been magnified exponentially. You can reach the number of people which you are not able to do that in a classroom setting. The maximum number I have reached is 290, but I know some people in my network, test prep companies, which have had attendances of 3,500 students attending a single maths class. The coming to the institution or the school, how has e-learning benefited them? Tremendously. First, it is very cost benefit for them because it reduces cost of operations to a large extent. Secondly, standardization of content. Now the teacher might be speaking in different ways in different lectures. So overall quality of a lecture varies from one to another. But here, once the lecture is out, the video is out, the assignments are out, the content is standardized and it reaches all the students, all the learners in the same format, in the same quality. Moreover, the assessment of tests. So you can actually have assessments of tests in a matter of minutes rather than spend the teacher spending a lot of time checking the answer sheets and all those things. At the same time, you get a lot of data: which question was tough, which classes are doing better, which students are performing better, what is their growth and performance charts in a matter of minutes again. So you can regularly keep on updating and improving your education system overall. But then there are a lot of weaknesses as well, and that is what I want to focus on. So the entire human element is missing from e-learning now. From the learner's point of view, the rapport formation with the teacher, that connection with the teacher is missing because the teacher, from the teacher's point of view, the teacher is not being able to be spontaneous. The teacher is not able to create magic in the classroom because the teacher and the learner both are looking at a screen where there might be some interference or disturbance, and because of that it's a very transactional value kind of a thing which e-learning has become. But on the other hand, there are new human interventions or new human elements which have been introduced. So teachers have kind of understood how to manage backbenchers or troublemakers in a class. But in this scenario, when some students log in with the fake ID, or they switch on the mic and play some music at the back, or they're creating memes, our educators who are not very tech savvy, they're not used to this, and they don't know how to control this or even mitigate this. Now, moreover, there are some subjects we have not even touched when it comes to e-learning. The first one is the technical infrastructure in the country. It is not at all standardized. So even if a teacher has the best of material, the best laptop, the best mobile phone, the best internet connection, if the student doesn't have that, then the e-learning live webinar classes are just not effective. Even if we take out the 55 million plus cities of India, the affluent who have big homes where you can privately, secure a location and just start studying over there, those do not exist in the rest of the country. In fact, a lot of households in India do not have a lot of rooms or privacy. In fact, culturally, we are not very quiet people. So homes are just not meant for working from home or for e-learning. On the other hand, when even if you take out the internet from it and you talk about broadcasting, we all have read about the tragic incident which happened in Kerala a few days ago, where a young girl committed suicide because she was so anxious about the fact that the TV at their home was not working and she would be left behind. Our education system has been riddled with suicides at every level, in high school, college, beyond college. And this is just another addition to that, which is really tragic. So the standardization of technical infrastructure is just not there. What else is a weakness? Well, the real-time doubt sessions are not happening. So the students who actually get curious about subjects, those doubt sessions are just not happening anymore. The reason for that? Well, because the teacher cannot manage multiple doubts at the same time. And then what about those subjects like fine arts and performing arts? E-learning has not even touched them, and probably we will not be able to touch them for quite some time now, because we haven't even started thinking about them, because math, science, and other subjects are more important. Another very interesting question was asked to me about how to increase user engagement, because there is actually a phenomena which is happening, which is death by webinar. It's a joke, but people are bored when you listen to 45 minutes or 1 hour to a person on your laptop or mobile phone, when the connection is not clear, the video is not clear, you don't know what's happening. It's a very boring engagement session, and you get instead of getting curious, you get demotivated about studying that particular subject. So how to increase user engagement? Well, give them assignments which are based on the internet. So for example, if you're teaching black holes, why don't you ask the students to find a link or a video of black holes which explains the black holes in the best possible way, and you give them a document where they have to paste the link. Now the person who's already put the link over there, that link cannot be used by other people, so the other students have to look for more links. What it does, well, these are tech savvy students, right? They will completely search the internet looking for new material. They will have to read, they will have to listen, and they will learn more about black holes than actually attending a 2 hour class. So innovative techniques like this have to be there to increase user engagement. On the other hand, to increase the motivation level, the schools and institutions need to learn from established institutions or established companies like Coursera, Udemy, which provide short assessments and frequent assessments. So you study for half an hour or you listen to a video for half an hour, and then you quickly have an assessment. And once you clear the assessment, there is instant gratification which the student has, and it motivates that student to move ahead, because what they see is, I studied for half an hour and I've already cleared one level. So we need to revisit our curriculum altogether. So what is my overall opinion? Well, the overall opinion is there is a long learning curve here for both the learner, the educator, and the rest of the infrastructure, the education system, the institutions, the government. And we need to talk about each of them separately so that we can facilitate e-learning, because it is the future of education, not only in India, but in the rest of the world. So friends, yes, we have been forced into this. We were not ready for e-learning. We are not ready to accept it even now as teachers or children or parents. But this is what it is going to be. This is the trigger which is going to change our education system for the better and completely. What do you think about this topic? Please let me know in the comments and let's discuss more. Take care.